welcome back to the True North CFL podcast. New year, and we're starting it off with a new show. I'm your host, Jimmy Leach. You can follow me on Twitter at Jimmy Leach CFL.
I'm Taylor Curry, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Taylor Curry SK.
I'm Cutter Kennington. You can find me on Twitter at Cutter Doing Radio and on Instagram at Cutter Kennington.
My name's James Tees. You can follow me on Instagram at James_Tees.
Thought you were going to say you can find me at Corpse Husband for a second.
Oh, God. The internet guys will get that one. And then you can follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search True North CFL podcast and you'll find us. And the show you can find on Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So without further ado, we're going to talk about our favorite re-signing from each team. And then we're going to get into how the CFL can better appeal to a younger audience because CFL age demographic, most of the fans are pretty old. And everybody who works on the show is in their 20s. And I think we even have one or two guys who are in their very late teens. So, yeah, we're the audience that they're trying to reach. So, figured maybe we should put something out there for ideas, I guess. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let's get to the re-signings here. We'll start with BC. I had Dominic Rhymes is BC's most important re-signing. Obviously, he's a stud receiver. It'll be a nice target for Mike Riley alongside Brian Burnham.
Yeah, that's why I picked Dominic Rhymes too. I think he's a compliment to Brian Burnham, and the way he played in Ottawa with subpar quarterback play, we'll say, I think he can excel really well in BC.
Okay, so I'm going a weird way here. You guys already know. I kind of wish I had kept this a secret from you guys before because I would have loved to get like genuine reactions to this. I like the signing of Will Arndt. I know he didn't play great, but having a quarterback, like hopefully they're able to lock him up for a few years after this because I think this is just a 1 year. But if they can keep him for multiple years and have him as an actual backup, maybe they could once this contract is up with Riley, he's probably going to go. Like, he's probably just going to call it a career, I would think, because it's like 4 more years after this, I think. And
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's either 3 or 4, and that'll put him up there. It'll be around 38 or 39. So if Arndt is ready to go and he's already knows that system, you could just slot him in there, and then you'll be good to go, and you don't have a quarterback controversy going on.
Yeah, he's a young dude, too. He's only 27.
Yeah. Like, I think if they're able to get quality out of Will Arndt, I think this will be a very good signing looking back.
I feel like that could be a big if, though, just because
it is a big if.
Because if we're talking like 3 years down the road or 4 years, he's going to be into his 30s, and he didn't have the greatest numbers with Ottawa. So BC brought in a bunch of young quarterbacks too in the offseason. Look, they brought in the Canadian kid Nathan Rourke. And they got Vinny Testaverde Jr. and I think 1 or 2 other guys. So
yeah, Vinny Testaverde Jr. His father's known as Vinny Testaverde, the most mediocre quarterback of all time, who made majority of his money buying and owning Outback Steakhouses.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
A way to make cash.
Extra money.
And then James, who did you pick?
Well, I went with, there's a common theme with this signing, Dominic Rhymes, or Dominic, I don't know why I said that. I thought he was a good signing because he's that big body receiver they need. He's 6'4", 215, and we don't see a lot of 6'4" receivers, and he's that possession receiver that BC and Mike Riley need.
I think that's a fair assessment, yeah, because they really were missing a receiver at the boundary. I felt like, Deron Carter just didn't really bring it this year, so I feel like Rhymes is a nice upgrade there. Sorry, Taylor.
Nah, I mean, he didn't play that well. Yeah, it is what it is. I think it's
Yep. So with that, we're going to move on to the Stampeders. For me, I had Richard Leonard, but I'm going to give an honorable mention to Huff because I thought Richard Leonard was their best free agency signing last kind of free agency period just because I think he's an elite DB. And with Trey Roberson still with the Bears, I think, Calgary's going to need him to be like the guy in the backfield there.
We'll
Yeah,
see if
that-
he comes back though, because he hasn't played a single game and been hurt.
True.
could be interesting. But yeah, I think Richard's gonna have to step up. I have him too by signing. But I mean, he had 55 tackles last year, 4 picks, 2 forced fumbles. I think with the other guy gone, he's gonna have to step up a bit, and we're gonna see a lot more of him, which is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I'm going with what Jimmy said, but I'm actually going with Josh Huff, which was his honorable mention. I like him a lot. 10 games, 37 catches, 491 yards, single touchdown. However, he was also doing kickoffs and that. I personally, I really like him. I don't know. It's one of those things where I just sort of got that feeling about him. I don't know. That's how I feel about Huff. Plus, I'm trying to diversify our selection a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I put Markeith Ambles in there. I really feel like this is a good signing because I think the Stamps after this past offseason are just starving for receiver talent. I know people may not think they have all these great guys, but there's only really Kamar Jordan. And besides that, there's not much going on in the receiving core. And I think Ambles was a good signing to be one of those depth guys. Maybe not a starter. He's been consistent with 400 yards last season. No scores, unfortunately, but still a decent amount of yards.
Yeah, for sure. I think he and Huff could be good depth pieces there, and you're right. Kamar Jordan, we missed him last season. He was hurt, so it's going to be interesting to see, what is he like when he comes back. And Eric Rogers isn't as dominant as he used to be. So
An old guy too.
yeah, but yeah, Calgary's receiving core is going to be interesting next season. And then now we move on to the Edmonton football team. Speaking of diversity, Carter, do you want to tell everyone who we all picked?
Oh man, Kwaku Boateng, baby, all four.
Unanimous selection. And yeah,
I mean, what more can you say? Like, you run down the list of everyone that Edmonton's brought back, and he's the only name. Well, besides Jonathan Rose now, who just got picked up.
true.
Boateng was the only one who jumps off the page.
Yeah.
Does anyone know the numbers on that contract? Because I remember the last contract he signed was pretty hefty.
I did not get those numbers, but yeah, I'm looking at their, re-signings right now. They don't really have too many heavy hitters that they've re-signed yet, other than him. They got what's his face? They got Rodney Smith back, who's good, but he's not, like a guy. And Terry
Boateng
Williams,
is
but
valuable guy because he can put up numbers and he's a Canadian D end, which there's not a whole lot of guys that put up numbers by him. And he's so effective, not just because of his sack totals, even though he doesn't put up double digit sacks, he's a pressure machine. And I will argue pressures are just as valuable in a sense that he's disrupting plays and they don't show pressures. And a good edge rusher isn't just sacks, it's pressures, and he gets a million of those a year.
for sure, yeah, he's a ratio breaker, so he's definitely a very valuable piece for Edmonton. So
Hey, I gotta hold on. I gotta take it
for it.
back for a sec. Just when we were talking about Calgary, something you said, Jimmy, kind of threw me off about Eric Rogers not being that good. He had 10 touchdowns last year, 1,080 yards, 85 catches.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, he was
he's
played
good,
last
very
year.
good. He was just hurt a lot. I think he had something wrong with his kidney actually 2 years ago, not last.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I remember
think-
that.
Yeah, or something like that. He had like kind of like an injury to his organ, but they also got some good guys on the come up. But yeah, I'll stop talking.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, like he's good. He's just not, what he used to be. Like he used to be arguably the best receiver in the CFL. Now he's really good. Like he's still a 1,000-yard
That's
guy,
fair.
but it's like, yeah, he's not, an
He's thin in the
top
tooth. He
receiver.
can still produce, but he ain't got a lot of time left. And I'm the resident Stamps fan on this podcast, and I'll be one to say that he's still really good, but he does not have much time left.
He tore his ACL in 2016. That's what happened.
Oh yeah, I remember that. 'Cause I think that
But he
cost him
didn't
his
miss-
spot in the
he-
NFL,
he-
didn't it?
That was in the NFL with the 49ers, yeah.
And then let's move on to Sask now. So for their top, the Riders have signed a lot of their names already, so that's a good sign. For me, I got Shaq Evans with an honorable mention going to Mason Fine. And for some of you more casual fans out there, it's like, really a college quarterback? But it's like, this dude's legit. You know, the Riders gave him a 3-year contract, and you don't normally see that with guys who are just coming into the league, and that's because CFL, kind of amateur scouts or CFL fans have been kind of looking at this guy for a while and saying, "Hey, this guy looks like he could be a really great CFL quarterback if he ever comes here." So I'm really excited about the Riders bringing in Mason Fine, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he plays.
I feel like he didn't get an NFL look just based on the school he played for, North Texas, because maybe people may not know this. He beat Arkansas, which may not be the best SEC team, but he beat a team in the SEC, which means a lot. And he has a lot of accomplished victories on his win-loss record at North Texas, and he's only lost a handful of games. He's a winner.
For sure, he's a legit passing threat too. Like I look at him, he's like 5'11", so I'm like, okay, is this guy like an undersized running quarterback, like maybe a Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson type? And it's like, no, this guy can throw. Like
So size in school have a thing to do with him not getting picked up.
I think so, yeah, because I looked at his NFL scouted report too, and it mentioned like his size, was an issue. But in the CFL, as we all know, smaller quarterbacks tend to do well here. So, yeah, I really hope that we get to see Fine. I hope he does well.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm really excited that they got Nick Marshall back. I think that he's a big key to that defense there, and if they want to keep it as deadly and as threatening as it is, that he's a really big piece to that. So yeah, I was really happy to see him come back to the Rams.
No, I get that. My pick comes from the idea that if you have a good running back, then it's just a CFL game breaker. And I mean, Winnipeg's proved that, and Saskatchewan's proved that to a point as well. And I'm really like, if I was a Saskatchewan fan, I'd be overjoyed to see Powell come back, second in yards, tied for first in touchdowns for rushing touchdowns. Like, he is such a good grab, and to be able to lock him up for as long as they have, because they've had him for a few years now, I want to say as well, right? Is this his third year?
This is either. I think this is going to be a second or third.
Only
yeah,
second. Okay,
year.
but still, being able to bring him back proves that the big pieces think that Saskatchewan is a place where they can win, and that's what you want. So, I think William Powell's a great pickup.
Good point. Yeah.
I had Powell as well, and I agree with what Carter was saying. It's kind of game breaking. We saw it with Andrew Harris, or when the Stamps went on their run and they had Jerome Messam. I'm not just saying this because I'm a Stamps fan, but I do agree. Run game is a bit. It may not seem like as big of a part, but if you can control the clock like that, it's deadly, and that's why I think Powell was probably the best signing they had.
I think that's definitely fair. Yeah, we have Shaq, Marshall, and Powell. I think those are all good picks. And then I'm gonna hold my tongue on the Andrew Harris jokes because I definitely could make one here, but I'm gonna choose not to. And we're gonna move on to the Bombers. So for my pick, I picked Jamarcus Hardrick. They haven't signed a ton of players. They just signed, as of recording, Nick Dembski today. So I guess he gets an honorable mention.
Sorry to interrupt. That's unconfirmed. That's from David Naylor on TSN. That has not been announced on CFL or from the Bombers.
Okay, that's fair, but he's usually pretty reliable. So
yeah.
With Hardrick, I think he's been really good on that offensive line for the Bombers. So I thought that was a really nice re-signing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I had the exact same pick. Marcus Hardrick, he's a good old lineman. I was really sad when the Riders let him go when we had him. So, yeah, Winnipeg fans, he played 18 games last year. He's a good guy to have back on your line.
Yep. I have written down on the document that they've re-signed 3 people and that Kyle needs to step it up. I think that is the truth. I think Kyle Walters needs to start bringing some people back because he's starting to scare me a little bit. Like, no word on Andrew Harris. Our defensive ends are going to be like 2019. We had a great selection of defensive ends. And right now, the only guy we've got under lock and key, I think, is Willie Jefferson. And he's great, but we need more than just Willie Jefferson. But in terms of best signing, I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to say Hardrick, even though I do like Jake Thomas a lot. I just think for the Winnipeg Blue Bomber brand, Yoshi Hardrick is just such a great guy and such a good locker room guy as well.
I had him as well. He's an anchor of that O line, though he may not be always the most talked about guy, but he's one of these guys who's been super consistent in the CFL, which I love to see an American that kind of calls Canada home, so to speak, and love his play. And I think O line kind of sets the tone, and that's what you build your team from. So that's why I have Yoshi Hardrick.
That's fair. And now we're gonna. Oh yeah, and then we're gonna move on to Hamilton. For me, I had Brandon Banks with an honorable mention going to Sean Thomas Erlington because Sean Thomas Erlington was a ratio breaking stud last year until he got hurt. So I'm glad he's gonna come back to Hamilton. And I hope he gets another shot to start again.
Yeah, we're on Hamilton. I got Speedy B. That's where we are, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just making sure. I just got thrown off for a second. But yeah, I mean, he had 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns. Like, he's the best receiver in the league. Like on paper, yeah, there's no way you wouldn't be happy to sign him. So that's the easy way to go for sure.
I agree with you guys, but I have a different guy written down specifically because I personally thought there's no way that Brandon Banks goes anywhere unless he's going south, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to leave Hamilton. And with that, I decided to go with Jalen Acklin. Tiger Cats most outstanding rookie in 2019, 58 receptions, 708 yards, played in 17 games. I like him. I think he's a good second hand for or a second receiver for Hamilton. And the point I was making with Willie Jefferson, you need to have more than one guy. And I feel like you were going to bring back Speedy B anyway. So being able to bring back Acklin as well is really good.
Good point.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Don Jackson. No, I'm absolutely kidding. I think he sucks, and I hated him on Calgary. I try not to talk bad on players, but come on, man, in Calgary, you just a nuisance. Anyway, Speedy B. Speedy B's my pick. I know that's so basic. He can run the ball, he can catch it, he can return it. He's a jack of all trades. So of course you're gonna put him up there. Shout out Don Jackson.
Jeez.
Not a nice shout out, but a shout out.
Yeah, exactly.
Nonetheless.
All right, so let's go to who are we on now? Toronto? All right. So Toronto hasn't really signed any of their huge names, which does have me a bit concerned. I was really hoping they'd have a couple guys signed by now, but for me, I've got Levi Noel. I really like him as a big physical Canadian receiver, and I think he's going to be a nice addition to Toronto's kind of Canadian Air Force that they're building with Juwan Breskinson, Levi Noel, and Dejon Brissett. And yeah, I think it's going to be super interesting to see them all together when we get the season started here.
I got Darius Blaydick for mine. I like him. He's a good young offensive lineman. Been in the league for years. He's only 26, but he's played in 45 games already. So I just think the sky's the limit for him, and he's got a lot of potential to do really well in Toronto.
Yep. I've got Matt Boateng. I like him a lot. He's got after his first year in Toronto. I feel like I've been saying I like that guy a lot, so I'm going to try and refrain from doing that from now on. But in his first year as an Argonaut, dropped 8 tackles, 1 special teams tackle in 12 games. He was a second-round CFL draft pick. I think he's a really good pickup for him, and I think he could keep developing and turn into something really good by the time he reaches his late 20s if he stays in Toronto that long.
Shout out friend of the show, Curly Gittins Jr. on getting re-signed. Even it will start to play a lot more. In the future, he's developing young guy out of Laurier. For mine, I have Darius his name's spelled weird, y'all. He has a Z at the end of Darius or Darius, however you
Yeah.
pronounce it. I know different spelling for different folks or pronunciations. Vladik. My kind of I agree with Taylor. He's a young guy. A lot of CFL O linemen come in a little older, so he got there very young because he played college in the States. And I think the sky is the limit. And I think Toronto's doing a good thing. Really building up their O line because, like, I think you can never go wrong building up your O line because that's the foundation of a lot of good. I think that's a really good pickup for them.
For sure. And now let's move on to Ottawa. For me, I'm gonna switch my pick. I'm gonna go with Justin Howell, and I originally had Marco Dubois. So I'm gonna give him an honorable mention just because I think he has a lot more to give than we've seen. So I feel like maybe he's a guy who could contribute more on Ottawa soon.
That's fair. Yeah, I got Justin Howell for mine too. I mean, they've only signed 2 guys, so it's kind of tough. But Justin Howell is a Canadian B. Seems like he plays a little more special teams, but he's got some tackles and stuff, and he actually had a sack last year. Seems like he's getting better, so a good Canadian signing, and he's only 27, so he's got some time left.
Yeah, I mean, I've also got Justin Howell, but like I looked at it at more of the special teams side because I feel like last year with the prevalence of Mike Jones, a lot of people really saw how important that is to have a really good person on special teams to make those tackles. So I'm glad to see people like Justin Howell and Mike Jones get this type of exposure. So yeah, I went with Justin Howell.
I went with Howell as well, but that's because they haven't signed anyone, and he's a solid teamer. I feel like I'd be beating a dead horse if I said more, but they've signed absolutely no one. So
Yeah.
that's my pick.
That's fair.
I
No, that
still
is
think they
fair.
fired the wrong guy. Just saying. With how Marcel Desjardins has not been active in signing anybody, and just what happened in Ottawa last year. But we've beat that
Maybe he's in
horse
his
to the
coat.
ground already.
Maybe he's in his COVID bunker waiting for this to roll over.
Maybe. So we're gonna conclude the top re-signings per team with Montreal. Shout out friend of the show Tony Washington, who is my top pick. With honorable mentions to Antonio Simmons and Eric Reed, all of them on the defensive side, except for obviously Tony Washington. So, yeah, I feel like those guys are all, solid contributors.
I have Eugene Lewis for my pick. Was great on their team last year. I think he led their team receiving yards, but just a good key piece to have back coming with their good young receiving core for Vernon Adams. He's a great piece to have there.
I'm going with Naaman Roosevelt. As much as it pains me to admit it, coming from a Bomber fan to a guy who had been continuously burning us for a long time in Saskatchewan, but I can admit that he's a really good player. But yeah, 32 years old. He's still got some time on the clock for him. 77 catches, 946 yards, and a touchdown in 2019. Yeah, I really like him. He's got over 4,000 total yards. I think he's a good pickup. And my phone's going off.
Nice.
So I'm going to mute up while you explain your next piece.
Excellent timing. But
I was gonna. I'm going with friend of the show. Shout out Tony Washington. You can never go wrong with signing a tackle. I feel like O lineman signings have been quite prevalent. I was going to say Simons, the defensive end from Georgia Tech, who was a rookie last year, who played really well. I want to go with more of a veteran signing because Tony is a proven player.
that's true. And he's quietly one of the better offensive tackles in the league. So
one of those guys who I think is underappreciated. He's not really talked about for awards, even though he played quite well last year, besides breaking his leg.
For sure. Now, James, you probably know more about the NFL than the rest of us, so I'm going to let you rip into this clown who was broadcasting an NFL game, and Chris Streveler was playing because Kyler was hurt, and he kind of took a shot at the CFL
Kinda.
when Strevler threw an interception. So I'm gonna let James rip into him. Just remember to keep it PG. That's all I'm saying.
Of course. People may know him as being in Cincinnati as well as with the Jets. And the last time those teams were good was when he played. And I'll tell you what, Boomer, you're a freaking boomer, buddy. Stop disrespecting the CFL. It's a real league. You want to talk bad on Strevler, but you don't talk bad on Alex Singleton? Yeah, buddy. Both came from the same league. How dare you disrespect one of our own, even though he's American? God, I hate Boomer. That's why I don't watch Fox's broadcast booth. I don't really like it. Is he part of Fox? I don't know. Whatever. I don't like his broadcasting style. You suck. I'd rather listen to Tony Romo, buddy.
Oh! All right.
Hang on. I want to verify a number here. Where was it?
4.
Yeah, so in his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In his 14-year career, 12 years he threw double-digit picks.
Jeez. That's
have
pretty
it.
trash, man.
And also, I don't know why he'd be saying anything, because when he was in the league, he was getting pooped on for like being very extravagant, wearing a fur coat, and just being a wild guy. And then he's gonna disrespect the Canadian tuxedo wearing god Chris Strevler.
Dude,
Yeah.
like, say what you want, but Strevy is a true product of just CFL.
Respect the drip. Yeah.
respect the drip, Boomer.
Yep.
What a beautiful quote.
I just love the OK Boomer thing came along, and his name is Boomer, so we can just
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's just
perfect.
That's wild.
yeah. Oh man, but this guy The frustrating thing is Chris Streller is not the best quarterback in the CFL. The reason he's down in the NFL is because he's basically like the CFL's answer to like a Tim Tebow or a Taysom Hill prototype player, and that's what he was brought in for. So. But yeah, don't diss our product with our 10th best quarterback or 9th best quarterback or whatever, you know? Like,
He's a utility player.
exactly. Like, if that was Bo Levi Mitchell having that game, it's like, okay. You know, like, Bo is arguably our best player, you know, if that happened to him, that's one thing. But it's like, this isn't our best product that we're giving you, you know?
Yeah. And if you're basing all of your opinions on one league on one player, like what was the Trent Dilfer? Should we all compare every quarterback in the NFL to Trent Dilfer to say it's a bad league? You know, like things like that. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
Exactly.
absurd.
And I'm
I've
glad that they
never-
brought him in because Cliff Kingsbury, you know, he's a guy who actually played in the CFL. He was on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for a little bit. So he appreciates the league, and that's part of why Strevler's even got an opportunity. So I really hope that doesn't really get squandered because, you know, this idiot Boomer guy who's probably never seen a CFL game in his life, you know, is talking bad and other people might be listening who don't know any better.
No, it's not going to. People are gonna get, like, it sucks because that's the type of comment that you expect from, like, on Twitter from a guy whose is like Randy28946, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just
Exactly.
some absolute nobody spitting out random words just to like be like, oh yeah, I could do that, but it's just so much worse when it's coming from a guy who's supposed to be credible. Like, come on, man. Like, Paul Appolise said it best. We needed better commentary.
I don't know why he'd like be talking crap on the CFL when guys like Cam Wake came from the CFL and stuff. And I want to say shout out Alex Singleton. He's the nicest player I've ever met. He's just an all around good guy. And whenever he talks about anything, he always praises the CFL. And that's what I love about it. Because he wants more people to come look at the league and show, hey, these guys can really ball. It's real football.
I'm glad because some scrub on a podcast said that the CFL was state fair football or something like, too. Like that guy's just talking junk, you know.
That was on the Pat McAfee podcast. But to be fair, people have gone on and said that's not a Pat McAfee issue. It wasn't even Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee actually likes the CFL and gives it a lot of respect, so I like him for that. But that's a CFL image problem. The thing is, when you look at the players and say, "Oh, the player base isn't good because this one player isn't good," that's where the issue arises. If you're gonna look at it and sort of say like, "Oh, I don't understand your rules. Your rules look weird in comparison to ours, and since we're the A game, you must be just doing some tomfoolery stuff." That's different because we aren't showing ourselves to be, or the CFL isn't showing themselves to be top tier football.
I
Yeah,
know.
we don't call ourselves the NFL. We are a true B, though. We're the only league that's been able to stick around compared to like the AAF. Like, there's clearly something good about our game going on, considering we've been around forever.
Exactly. And if you go even further back to the history of football, you look at the very early games. I believe Harvard was one of the first teams to ever have a football in America. And they played a Canadian team because, again, there wasn't any, other
It
universities
was the
playing
McGill
football.
Redmen.
Oh, McGill? Okay, yeah. I think it was Harvard, McGill, or whatever. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, the Americans actually liked some of our rules so much that they adopted them. So why are you dumping on our rules when, historically, you guys have taken stuff from us? You look at the longer extra point, that was our idea. Flirting with reviewing pass interference, that was us, but it worked out better here because our, I guess, definition of PI, I think, is a little bit better too. But
We got a better overtime system. But
Oh, our
continue.
overtime
Yeah.
system is so cool
yeah,
compared to the NFL overtime system.
Yeah,
That
and
was like
how do you have a league that has an overtime system like that? Like it doesn't make sense.
that's like one thing. Like I will say, probably my favorite thing about the CFL game in general, in terms of the rule set, is the overtime system. I love it so much.
for sure. And then there's another thing I was gonna say. Yeah, like our game is faster too, right? Like sometimes I find it hard to watch the NFL because it's a slower game of football, right?
They have
Just with the
they have a
longer,
longer play clock.
yeah, the longer play
It's
clock,
easier
more
just to run
downs.
out the clock with like a running back. Like in the CFL, you can't just run out the clock in the last little bit because there's only 3 downs as well as the play clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I will say is that a little sort of comparison that I like to make between the NFL and the CFL is that the NFL makes the come on
Oh man, Carter,
again.
this has
isn't even
never
my
happened
fault.
on a show. Who?
Okay, so that's muted now. But anyway, it's just I find that the CFL forces the offense to actually make the moves because of the one less down. Where if with the one more down in the NFL, the defense is the team that has to make the move. So that opens the CFL up for more long field pass or like more downfield passes because you have to do those kinds of plays more often, which I find more enjoyable to watch.
Sure, yeah, I don't know. I feel like CFL like is a better in terms of rules. It's a better version of football to watch. The NFL.
Yeah, that's what I was bringing up. Like that's what I was trying to get at. I feel like if it's more offensively balanced or more favored for the offense, I mean, it'll be more fun to watch because then higher scoring games. Like if you watch or back when it was around, if you watched an arena football league game, those were nuts because scores got into like the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, arena football was wild, man. R.I.P. the Arena Football League. But
Yep.
for real. So now that we've ripped into Boomer and gone over our top, signings for each team, we're gonna get something that's in the title of this video. How can the CFL better appeal to a younger audience? And by that we generally mean, people in their 20s or late teens, like us. How can they better appeal to our demo? So we've got a couple points here. We're going to start off with something I have heard for, a decade plus, and that the CFL should have a video game or, be a part of Madden. So what do you guys think about that?
That'd be nice, hey? Like, I mean, I've said it personally to the commissioner twice that we need a game, and I know, yeah, like you said, it's people have been talking about it for years that it's needed, and that's like the only way you're gonna reach the young kids these days. They're all playing Fortnite and all that junk, and you got to get them on there playing your junk too.
Exactly.
Like, well, let's be real. You Google CFL video game, the latest CFL video game, CFL Football 99,
Yep.
1999. That's like, so 20 years. We have had no inkling of a continuation from that. And like, I remember I saw a mod on Twitter of somebody did it for Madden 20 on PC. They were able to put all the CFL teams into it, and they made like all the players, and they had all the rankings and everything, and all the jerseys. It was ridiculous. Um, but just like, come on, it's right there. Just do it. It is like, you've got an indie developer, Canuck Gaming, who are making a game with your rule set. Just give them the rights.
Yeah, give
Like,
them some money, give them the rights, and that's all you need.
if you're not gonna use them, just give them out to these guys. Like, unless you're holding out for something, which I mean, at this point, I kind of hope you are, because why else would you be doing this?
I really don't think they should be holding out
like
anymore.
so
People have been
weird
asking for this
swoop in.
for 10 years. You're saying, James?
It's not like EA's gonna swoop in and make
Yeah.
a CFL video game.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would like to see, because Maximum Football has a bunch of it has a bunch of different rule sets. I wouldn't be shocked if there was some sort of plan in the works before COVID happened. If the CFL, the AAF, and the XFL were all going to group up with 2K and make a game which had all three leagues.
I would have been down
would've
for
been
that.
Incredible.
And you could go like, and like, everything I'm saying is pure speculation and just daydreaming and hoping. But it would have been so cool to have some sort of career mode where you get to jump between the leagues, and then at the end you get to choose which league's championship you play for. To get,
Oh, that'd be so cool. Man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think, and
But
because it's all scripted stuff, you could have it where it's like, oh, you want to play in the CFL with the Bombers for it. Boom, you're playing against the Riders because they just happen to cross over, or you just happen to cross over. You know,
Yeah.
you're always playing the most important games. Like, I think that would be so much fun.
2K's done that with basketball on their story modes. The whole thing, you got to go to Japan and play, and then you come to the States and you're no good. But they could do something exactly like that in the games. And
Yeah.
like you said, the thing that really got me what you said was like the wasted potential. It's just sitting there, and it's like they're holding it so no one else can do anything with it, but they won't do anything themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, you're losing fans, and the fans you're losing, they're in that younger demographic, so you're really hurting your long-term success. Like, yeah, you're putting out these good ads and stuff, but people our age don't watch TV, you know? Like, we're gaming, we're, streaming stuff. We don't care about, what you're putting on traditional television, because we don't watch traditional television.
Mm-hmm.
It's fading away.
I know.
Well, COVID didn't help with that either, though. Like, with even like the CFL, especially with us being the only league that couldn't get off the ground, it doesn't make us look good. It didn't help, I don't think.
For sure, yeah.
Oh, for sure that they fumbled the bag last minute.
Yeah, and we look like a fool in front of the government, and the league could have done a lot better to make themselves look, but I just feel like the effort hasn't been there for a little bit now.
Yeah, because we were the only pro league out of the 6 in North America not to play. So
Yeah, and that
that's
says
bad.
something, and that's why people call us a mediocre league.
Like, I'm pretty sure the CFL gets more viewers than MLS in Canada, and MLS was able to do something.
Yep.
Yeah, something.
MLS is in with FIFA.
Oh.
True,
even
but
still, like
still.
the CFL couldn't do anything. They couldn't ask the NFL for advice or help, or like how hard. I know it would be difficult, but there were talks of a bubble city and stuff like that. Like, you got to think they'd have a way to make it work.
For sure.
Yeah, but it's a league that's so reliant on fan money, where a lot
Yeah,
of
That's
teams
true.
aren't making
Yeah.
money on like Toronto and I forget what other team, I believe it's probably BC, have just been losing money because no fans go to their games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I will say, a big thing with creating a CFL video game is that, of course, like the main roadblock is they've had former commissioners have tried to reach out to EA to make something for it, but there's no market for it because you have to guarantee that a certain amount of people are going to want to buy the game. And right now, if like just based off of what we know, the younger generation doesn't care about the CFL.
Well, I
Maybe a
mean, if
video
you
game
put
would
it
change
out
that.
there, I think they would. But
Well,
you
but
have
the
to
thing is,
put it
they
out
don't
there.
know that.
You know,
But that's why you have a Madden add-on instead of its own game.
Exactly.
If you do a Madden add-on, then it could start to bring more eyes to it, and then potentially you're starting to look at something more standalone.
Because
Yeah.
people get bored of Madden, but they still want to play football. And
Yeah,
if you
people are
said,
like-
whoa, I get a bigger field and I take away a down and I get another player on the field, oh, that's different. That's interesting. That's like,
Yeah, I kind of
That's-
agree there. Like, EA actually did build a working CFL version of the game. They integrated it into Madden 13, but they didn't release it. So I feel like, yeah,
That makes
it's
me
something they
so
could do. Like, it's
That
something
makes
they
me so
Oh.
sad.
it could 100% be done, but you know, the CFL has to get their butt in gear and put something together with EA, or you know, if they don't want to do it, find a developer who will, you know, that's quality enough. Like I know we talked a bit about Canuck Play, and I think a big problem with their game is their graphics are like, it looks like a 15-year-old game.
It looks
know?
dated. It does.
Yeah, like it looks like when I first played it, I said this looks like Madden 07, which was the first
Yeah.
Madden I ever got. So it's like, yeah, honestly, CFL just needs to, again, find a developer, you know, or work with EA. And if you're EA, you know, maybe you do like, hey, we hear you fans, you know, you're saying this is the same video game every year with a roster update. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you, you know, CFL now. Whole new rules, you know,
To be fair,
all this new stuff.
that could jumpstart some stuff because then some fans who like took 2 years off from it, they're gonna come back to it and they'll be like, "Hey, well, even if you know the base game is the same, there's this thing.
Yeah.
You could burn a few hours with that, even if you don't really get into it."
It's a new feature, and it's like kind of even the NHL. It's like they have other leagues too, you know, and their stuff. Even 2K recently added like the WNBA, and I think they had the G
Every
League and some
game-
Europe teams and stuff.
Every video game has it, but Madden rather.
Especially because
Yeah.
Madden's finally starting to catch heat for being like the same game every year. Like
yep.
there's been like
Mm.
viral videos of how I think this one guy went and looked through like the practice facility for a Madden game, and it's like there was still stuff from like the previous Madden that said like Madden, you know, whatever past year.
No.
Yeah, there's been 2 videos. There's even one for this new Madden where it's been like, hey, this is a holdout from last year.
Only
You
thing
know?
they added was like NFL Street or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
the backyard.
Yeah, that my
True.
block or whatever.
They were so lazy they didn't even bother to change all of their assets. Like that's how bad it's getting, and the critics are finally starting to kind of catch up with the reviews because Madden used to be like a 90 or an 80 all the time from like these big video game journos.
Mhm.
And the users have always kind of rated it lower, but even now the mainstream people are starting to catch up. I think EA is like, okay, maybe we got to start, you know, doing something. And then, so CFL, if you're going to reach out to EA, you know, these next, you know, the next year or two is the time to do it, you know, to try and, you know, help. Hey, let us help you. And in turn, we get more exposure, you know, that type
Yeah.
of thing.
I mean, I feel like we're gonna talk about this forever. I feel like we need to jump to the next thing.
Oh, no.
Well, I got
we can keep
I got
going
one
on
more
this.
quick point. Well, I got one more point. I just remembered something. I was talking to a friend of mine a few months ago, and he's into kind of building your own games and stuff like that. And he had a mod back on one of the college games or one of the old Maddens where you could have all the CFL teams and stuff like that.
NCAA 14.
Yeah, and the CFL actually reached out to him at one point and wanted him to develop a game for them, but they wanted to put in absolutely no money. That like no money at all.
I feel
But
like
they wanted him to build a full game for them.
I feel like all the marketing people for the CFL are just like super old and have no idea about the younger generation.
Yeah.
Like it's so frustrating to watch because it's like, yeah, you know, you're getting the older fans, but what about the younger people? The people that you're losing and the people that you need to be relevant in, 10, 20 years. You gotta get those people somehow.
It's not even that. I just want to say this. I think one of the reasons um, CFL is dying is because football is dying, like among the youth. Youth football is dying.
Yeah.
Where here, a lot of teams don't have a grade 10 team. They took out special teams in Division 2 and 3 in high school in Calgary for juniors. And like a lot of teams have to combine because they're just not getting the turnout.
Wow.
And Calgary's been a football city for a long time. You can see that in the dinos and the amount of guys in the CFL and everywhere.
Well, yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
absolutely. That's what I was gonna say.
It's just, yeah, it's a shame. And another personal story that I have about, Madden and CFL and stuff is, when I was growing up, everybody played Madden. And, when they were younger, yeah, they watched CFL too and stuff. And then as they got into high school, got older, they slowly started caring less and less about the CFL and more about, NFL. And I think a lot of that probably had to do with them playing Madden and getting themselves more familiarized with the NFL and its players. And you don't really have that for the CFL. So it's like, okay, why would I pay attention to this other league that doesn't have the best players and isn't in this video game versus
Well,
the NFL,
yeah, that's exactly it. Like we were talking before we went on, I believe that like Madden NFL Street, that was me finding my very first player in the NFL that I liked, and it was Jeremy Shockey, and that
Mhm.
got me to the NFL. And yeah, there is nothing like that for the CFL, like, at all. And like you're not going to remember the CFL game app that they have in 15 years from now. You're not going to remember,
I barely remembered it today.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's a
That's
I
step in
forgot
the right
about that.
direction, but it
I
isn't
completely
enough.
forgot there was one till you said that.
Yep.
that's what I mean. Like that's the point right in its face. Like it's not worth it, and they're doing the wrong things. It's yeah.
It's not
Mobile
enough.
games were sick 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they make a ton of money. I think that's probably what they saw is like mobile games. Like you look at PUBG Mobile and stuff, it generates like billions in like,
Clash of Clans.
oh god, yeah. Like I think
Yeah.
the CFL's like, hey, look at this. This is a huge potential revenue stream, and it's like, but you don't have the market recognition to do that. Like if you among the demos that play those games, if you had like a console PC video game, could do that because people know who you are that play games on their phone, right?
Just for fun, I actually opened up the Football Frenzy app. It has Zach Caleros for the Riders, Ricky Ray in the Argos, Trevor Harris for the Red Blacks, Drew Willie for the Alouettes, Jonathan Jennings for BC, and I can't even tell who, or probably Matt Nichols. But yeah, like
What
this is
number? What
the
number?
only 15 it looked
Yeah,
like,
Nichols.
but this is the only game
It's
they have,
outdated. It's already
and
outdated.
exactly like it's been out for 2 years and it's already outdated. It's just to me it shows no effort at all.
True. It's like, hey, we're trying, but not really.
Yeah, because even looking now, their special that's on the website is a 2018 All Stars pack.
Oh my god.
2018.
Yeah, I think they
Ugh.
That
abandoned
was
it.
before Jerome Messam got charged with filming a woman naked.
Yep.
Oh
That's
my
how old this
God,
is.
bro.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, we're not going to talk too much about that because
We're gonna
family
move
friendly
on.
show. Yeah. Let's move it on to marketing your athletes. This one is another one that I think this one's easier than the video game just because like this is already there, for you to use
yeah, you could do this fairly easily.
because there are a lot of personalities in the league. Like you look at Bo Levi Mitchell, who has a radio show in Calgary, right? And a guy like Derod Carter, when he was big, had this insanely huge personality that people talked about and stuff. Like that's a good thing for the league, and you need to do a better job of showing that off.
It sucks that Strevler started getting huge like attention and then immediately went to the NFL. It would have been nice if he'd stuck around for like a year.
True.
I want to know if any of you guys like the only big company that really, really backs the CFL is like Marks. And Marks is
Yeah.
I shop at Marks, but that's like an older demographic. Where if you go in the stores, they have like on the TVs like Mike Riley getting fitted in some sick Marks clothes. Like I mean, like we need more of that. Like I don't know if anybody from Calgary is listening to this, or if in where you guys live, they have these. They're called co-ops. I think it's
Yep.
just a
Yep.
co-op grocery store.
Yep.
They used to have in each city. This was like I think 2013, 2014. They had like CFL food, like where I was.
Yeah.
They
Oh
had
my God,
John
we have that.
Cornish cornflakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we
And
had
Two's
Drew
flakes.
Willie. We
Yeah.
had Drew Willie potato chips.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The marketing's bad. Yeah, we had all Dressler chips, Darios, Fantus flakes.
God,
We were
come
all over the
on.
place.
Yes,
But
laugh,
that,
waggle.
but
Cue,
that's the
cue
thing.
that
Like,
one. Cue the phrase from The Office where it's like, "I wish we knew we were in the glory days before we left them."
Yeah, really.
but like, why not get Willie Jefferson or Mike Riley in a Canadian Tire commercial, or things like that, like to get them on TV or YouTube
Yes.
ads, like things like
yes,
that, like get
YouTube
them
ads
out
are
on
fucking
marketing.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The CFL should be trying to get huge on there. It wouldn't be hard, like.
I
Is
know.
there
It's
even a
just
CFL
like,
TikTok? I have no idea.
I'll find
does the
out.
CFL have a tick? Yeah,
I'm
like,
sure if it is, it's under marketed and nobody follows it because no
they
one
do.
knows
Yeah.
about it.
They only have 2,000.
Of course they do.
Yikes.
Even their YouTube is a flop. Like,
That's
They don't
it's
even have
sad.
market.
It's CFL _ official. They couldn't even get their real name.
That's sad. Let me look at this. I want to see if my cousin has more followers because my cousin made a viral TikTok
Probably
video.
does.
Their last video was 5 months ago.
Let's see how many followers
They have-
my cousin has 94,000. How much does the CFL have again?
2,000.
Like,
Like
this is
20.
That's sad.
This is where my love for the CFL starts to sort of falter. Like, it's just such a poor marketing strategy. Like, if I go to they don't even show the amount of subscribers on the
YouTube.
CFL site or on the CFL YouTube.
Oh,
Like,
that's
it'd be
bad.
so easy just to post like viral catches and get like there's kids that make videos of them doing one-hand catches that get millions of views. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure if you put a 6 CFL one-hander up there, it'd get a few 100,000 views.
Dude, we did that and we got a couple thousand. Like, how hard is
on
it?
Instagram.
Yeah, like how hard is it for the CFL to do the same thing, Well, you guys did it. How long did it take you, Taylor and James, to make those videos?
Not long. Like the one
Yeah.
video that we did that got like 30,000 views, that only took me like 20 minutes.
So
Yeah, mine took I think an hour at the most.
And
What-
we are a group of idiots recording a podcast. This is the
Yeah.
actual Canadian Football League
We-
that is refusing to do this type of stuff.
we are 20-year-olds who do this as a hobby while, Taylor's working and some of us are going to university, etc., right? Like, you think the
Our video that has
CFL's
26,000 views took me like 15 minutes. Not long at all.
Yeah, like you
Oh.
think the CFL would put, 15 minutes of effort to market themselves to a younger group of people that they need to market to.
The CFL has 1.6 thousand subscribers on YouTube.
Are you serious?
know.
That's pathetic.
That's
Like, we don't
There's
have
no-
that many, but it's like we're a podcast and we get most of our stuff from Spotify.
1,000 followers. That's not bad.
No, that's what I mean. Like they have to do this better on all platforms. Because even looking at their videos from 2 months ago that are half an hour long, like a reunion, 300 views, best in the league 2020, 1,000 views. Like the NFL, their top highlight packages aren't getting 1,000 views. It's tens of thousands of hundreds of millions.
Yeah. But they just need to do a better job promoting kind of all this stuff. 'Cause, yeah, it is frustrating to look at from our perspective, right? Because, hey, we have done this, and the fact that, like, I feel like they must have really, really old people running their marketing because they are clueless on how to market to younger people. Like with, like we just said, you could put, a highlight package together, throw it up on TikTok and get tons of views. And who looks at that? People our age and a little bit younger, the audience you need to get, and
Yeah.
it doesn't take that much effort to reach them, So maybe if you don't want to put the R&D costs that it would get to make a video game, maybe just do that. Put up your highlight packages and stuff to get younger people like, hey, this is really cool. I should watch this. Where can I watch this? And be like, have it up before a game or something. You know what I mean?
Al- Also, like another issue is a lot of people don't have cable, and I believe CFL is only available on cable or an illegal stream. I feel like if they added it on some streaming service, not exactly Amazon Prime, but you guys know how Amazon Prime
Oh,
streams NFL games.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean
But-
because a streamer I watched
Twitch
used to
did it.
broadcast NFL games once a week or whatever. They used to, on their stream, they used to talk about,
Yeah.
they used to watch an NFL game live and talk about it. Like you could do that with the CFL.
But
Get some
here's the
big
thing.
Canadian streamers to put it up on their stream and watch it.
But
You know,
But the catch is that TSN owns all the video rights to the CFL, and they have their
True.
TSN Direct, where if you have cable, you can stream it on, or you can pay a certain amount a month. The CFL does offer a package to the site too for outside of
Canada.
Canada,
Yep.
and I believe it's outside the United States as well. It's
Yep.
really messed up.
It's
Oh.
like
It's there, but it's so tied up with TSN. That's the big problem.
I think
TSN says yes or no.
I think Canada's I think the Canadian Football League is so scared of failing to try one of these things.
Yeah.
They're super they're super playing into what they know works because they've seen around them these leagues come up and fall, and yet what they're doing is working.
Yes, but they're gonna
At the end
fall
of the-
behind,
They
which
are
is the
still-
problem.
They are still going. A lot of these leagues aren't,
Yeah.
So it sucks
But-
to sort of get out of that mindset, but you have to, or else you're never going to actually grow.
You're never gonna evolve. Like,
Yeah.
marketing even, 5-10 years ago is different from marketing now. Like gaming has come such a long way in the past, 10-15 years. And, is a lot more lucrative and social media too, even, 10 years, you look at how it's evolved and how big and important it is when you're marketing a product, like CFL just still hasn't caught on for some reason. And it's,
Well,
as a
even-
younger person, it's frustrating because, again, hey, we did this thing that the CFL could easily do in 15 minutes and got tens of thousands of views. Could you imagine if an official league source put that up somewhere?
Like,
It's as if
Or they're
right.
Yeah.
very old and just haven't, again, they don't know the younger audience very well.
I mean, one thing
And
when it
that's
comes
what
to
it feels
marketing
like.
players, one thing you could do with marketing, just the teams with things is like maybe you don't even need a CFL video game, but give the rights to a video game. And what I mean by that is that I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with Rocket League at all, but they just did a deal with the NFL, and now you can have their logos all over your cars. Do something like that. Do
Yeah.
something like that with whatever game you want, and put your logos in something.
That's kind of
Maybe-
cool. I didn't know that.
Maybe make it like, oh, there's a game that's coming out, like a AAA title game that's coming out, that's based in Calgary. Make there be a mission where you have to like go into the stadium or something during a game,
Yeah.
like something like
Fortnite
that.
did
It
the
doesn't.
NFL.
It doesn't have to be a CFL video game. Just put it into a medium that
Yeah.
people of our age look at.
Yes.
And they start talking about it and wondering and then watching and buying it. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so we've given, 2 options. The video game is obviously the most expensive option that they could do.
Mhm.
I feel like we're doing like an e-scan for the CFL to be like, hey, this is what you should do to appeal to your younger audience. And hey, we're giving it to you for free. So if someone to CFL, you want to get a promotion or whatever, pitch these ideas to your marketing team. And then,
Please.
yes.
Tell Randy we said hi.
Yeah, tell Randy we sent you. And then, all right, so another option we have that the Raptors did this when they started in Toronto is ticket programs with high schools. Now, this could be done a number of ways. This could be, if you go with your student ID, you get like a discount on game day tickets, or maybe you get a discount on like season tickets if you're a university student or something, or you
Do
have
like a
one in your
combo
family. You know,
do like a combo deal where you get like a drink, popcorn, and a hot dog with your ticket, you know?
They do that. Stamp for
Toronto's got
colleges.
something too.
they
I mean,
do.
Toronto needs something though for their
Toronto
A.
did do
yeah.
something
I
with
got
the exhibition, but they didn't do
I
anything.
had
I don't think on a regular basis.
no,
Huh.
I had some opportunity. My friend, when the only time I was able other thing I just want to say, on Ray, you'll remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I was in grade 10. He I don't quite remember.
Yeah,
Like the only one. I was like the I knew
that's awesome.
Nice.
and
Yeah.
even though
Yeah.
stuff like that. Also Keon Raymond, Calgary.
Oh,
10 years.
nice.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Abhi Khan did that in Winnipeg, if you guys know that name.
Yep. Oh yeah.
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 Shawarmas.
Shawarma Khan, baby.
Well, yeah, we had he used to be the Riders' long snapper. His name was Jocelyn Burnett. He came
Mm.
and gave us a speech on drinking and driving, and we actually had Wes Cates and Maurice Lloyd after they won the Grey Cup too. They came to our school and talked to us, and yeah, but like my younger brother, never had any Rough Riders or any CFL players come to his school. My kids haven't either, and
Yeah, I
I
don't think
don't
I've
see
had
it
that either.
happening. But that's something that I'll never forget as a CFL fan.
Yeah,
You
like
know, and
I
that's
know.
they're missing so many opportunities.
I think Randy said they're gonna try to do more of that, and I really hope he does follow through with that because it is something that the league could do. I think that would work as well. Because yeah, it's this people that that are younger, so they don't lose interest in the league too, right?
Hmm.
Have them go to schools or whatever, talk about drinking and driving or anti-bullying stuff and things like that. You know, I think that's a good way to do community outreach. Have them at different charity events. Like I know, Devon Johnson used to run or help with a charity for Lyme disease, and he used to have a barbecue every year. Like things like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Another thing, a lot of these guys
Yeah.
usually don't. I just
yeah,
really appreciate if you go Kadeem Carey, the running. I was going I, the day before the game tomorrow.
that's
One
sick.
one thing I remember, it was like the first or second season of IG Field, and I don't even remember the guy's name, but I had 27 on just because that was my lucky number. It was my jersey, like personalized to me, right?
Yeah.
So I go onto the field. This player grabs me and grabs his girlfriend and gets a picture because he was number 27, and it was the first time ever that he had gotten someone who was, and he didn't care that it wasn't like him, but he was 27 and I was wearing it.
Yeah.
So got it. He signed it for me and all that, and I had a blast because that was really cool.
That's
But yeah, it's
awesome.
like these players like they, a part of playing football is being recognized, so they
For
want to
sure.
have that part of it too.
Like I know I used to work at a Walmart here where a lot of the riders kind of they would live in this area or temporarily they live here. So I ran into a couple guys. I ran into Nate Hawley once, Kevin Glenn, stuff like that. Like it's cool to see these guys and have them. And then I remember one time, Chris Getzlaff recognized me because he was one of the guys that my mom taught, and we kind of we'd seen each other before and stuff, right? So it's like, oh hey, and it's like, oh hey man, like that stuff's kind of cool. When you get recognized, you recognize them. I do think that's really cool. And then where are we? Okay, so we're on to the next thing, I guess, which is increase and improve team social media presence. So some teams are really cool on social media, and some just aren't. Like some are very stuffed up and traditional, and some are like, "Oh, hey, here's this cool thing," you know. And no Hamilton with the Brett Favre thing. Just no cameo stuff, guys. Okay.
Nothing.
I
Pay
never
for
want to.
support, yeah.
I never want to see that again. Like that was so bad that they had to do that. Like that was for me. That was embarrassing. It's like they paid him like it was like must have been $20 to say that. Like,
No, it was
dude,
$300.
Oh my god, $300 for him to say it. That's sad.
Yeah,
Like,
he was not a cheap cameo. I remember we looked him up right after they did
yeah, because it's not like he did that of his own accord. You physically had to pay him to say what he said. Like,
it.
that's cringe. Like, you literally couldn't find like some guy who's an actual fan, like that's a celebrity. You had to pay a guy. Like, that just looks bad. So less stuff like that and more, I don't know, like we've done highlight packages that have been pretty successful. Like, do more of that.
Exactly.
And then what are some other cool things you guys have seen from CFL social media?
Uh,
Nothing. Nothing
Crickets!
else.
Crickets! Okay, well, what are some ideas that you guys think they could do that might work? That you maybe seen like another team do, like another sports team or a different league do?
In terms of social media?
Yeah. Like something cool they
I
did
think
on
just
Twitter or Instagram or something.
more involved, and I think too, even like with let's say Instagram or YouTube, have like pay like even if you have to do it, but pay someone like let's say who's that YouTube kicker that was playing for Toronto last year? Yeah,
Destroying! Yeah.
but get someone like him, invite him to a game, give him free passes sideline, like let him promote for you guys.
Yeah.
Let him take over your Instagram, go promote it on his, and like, yeah, get some bigger names because it wouldn't be hard to find a couple guys in Toronto, even
Years
or
ago, Flow Rida. Forget. Flow Rida beat in hit. Still
yeah,
Yeah.
went to a game, had a cute. Who's the big name guy?
Snoop Dogg because he
Snoop
wore a
Dogg went
dress
to
up
a
jersey when he
Rider
came
one.
here.
Yeah. Snoop
Tom
went to a
Hanks.
Rider
Ice
one.
Cube. Ice Cube wore bomber merch to a concert.
Oh, what's his
Yes,
face? Tom Hanks wore some Hamilton stuff, but I think his friend is from around there, so he's a Ticats
Martin
fan.
His
Short.
son,
Yep.
son
Yeah,
That's dope.
Chet, his Jamaican son.
Like,
if
see,
anyone follows him on Instagram, no.
like, see that's where we need, that's where we need to promote. Like, hey, this celebrity and his kid love the league. Go check that out. Or like feature them in something. So that maybe like
Yeah,
Tom
like
Hanks goes and shares this, like, hey, look what the CFL did with my kid or whatever, or like to promote the league, stuff like that.
exactly.
And then yeah, so improve their social media presence, and then uh make more products for age demos. So I don't know, I guess gear your merchandise more towards us. So I think Carter kind of mentioned this, or I guess this would be applicable, like the adding like logos to video games and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like that could fall under this too.
New Era needs to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
Whoever
new
the
era though.
Jersey
Like,
person is.
I mean, not to be negative, but like, what are they gonna do? Like,
Yeah,
they aren't really like they're known, but they're not really anything spectacular. Like,
They're
it
like
would have
the
been better
biggest.
if Adidas did something.
Yeah,
True.
the biggest
And
hat
we lost
maker.
that.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I know we lost it, but like when Adidas would have been nice if they had
oh
done.
yeah, but
Yeah.
with the new era, actually, I remember new era and teamed up with the CFL a few years ago is for the 2013 Grey Cup, they designed some merchandise, and it was some of the nicest like Grey Cup merchandise. I still have my sweater somewhere. But yeah, like if they have a good brand that is on the uprise right now with New Era, it's becoming more of a like a name in every house, and like yeah, there's good potential there for something. I mean, they own a stadium, they got money, they could do something. And I think once the season kicks off and they have some jerseys they'll need to sell, I think we'll see something come around then.
For sure. And then I got some notes here for this. So like for children, I guess you could have like coloring books and toys. Like we kind of talked about like McDonald's. Like you could do something with McDonald's to get like either player
A&W
or
Canadian.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Dairy
A&W
Queen,
too. Yep, Dairy Queen. There
Tim
you go.
Hortons.
Yep. Like see,
Yes.
we just came up with several franchises that you could pair up with right there to do either sell toys or coloring books with them. And I think they have worked with Tim's in the past, so that could work.
Stamps of a thing. And win stamp.
That's cool.
Well, I
Yeah.
was actually going to ask you guys, just coming from a Rider fan, like we have a lot of merchandise that I don't know if you guys do because people just buy stuff if it says Riders on it.
Yeah.
But like at your guys' team stores, do you guys have like kids' books and Lego and stuff like that? Because at the
Yeah, you
Rider
go
store,
Lego.
there's like
we
okay.
we have a type of Lego stuff. It's not Lego.
Yeah,
It's
not
not yeah,
that
it's not
brand.
Lego.
but,
Yeah.
but we have that kind of stuff. We don't have like book stuff.
Really?
A lot
Figures.
of it's pretty much merch stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
the
Riders
shirts
are
and
pretty
hats and all
good,
that.
but I don't think some of the teams, like out east, I don't think they have as much merch. Like,
No. But I'm just curious to ask another fan because yeah, we have like Rider sink stopper. There's like Rider soap dispensers and
the Rider
barbecue
fidget
things.
spinner.
Yeah, you can get anything. Yeah, with the logo on it. It's ridiculous. So I was
Yeah.
just curious to see what your guys' market
I
is
don't know
like
if
out
you
there.
a wall.
Little bit.
Stamps, hats, and
Yeah.
in the Toronto one.
Yeah, there's a little bit, but it's not well promoted though.
Sparingly.
It's tucked on
Yeah.
a back shelf, but it's not first thing you see when you walk into the kids' clothes. Paw Patrol and I don't know what else the kids are
Yeah.
into these days.
I had no idea. I'm too old for that stuff.
Fortnite. There we go.
Fortnite, yeah. Do something with Fortnite. Get a Cody Fajardo skin or something. Oh man, yeah. Like even I know I put this as kind of a joke, but like set for people our age, sell shaker cups so you can shake up your G Fuel in your Rider shaker cup.
Hey,
Yeah,
But that's perfect though. Like that's marketing geared to people your age right now, and that'd be a good idea.
yeah. Like if there's a bomber shaker cup around, I guarantee you Carter would buy one.
yes sir.
Exactly. That quick, yeah.
Yo, royal blue and gold. Let's go.
Yeah, like make some dope
I'm
shaker
surprised it's
cups.
not a
and then-
thing.
Yeah,
Like you can buy some of the most weirdest things. But
Shaker cups would be bangers because you
Sha-
could also just have them for like the players.
do you imagine if they had like a limited
idea.
time? Do you imagine
And
if they
you
had a
could even
limited time
promote them
controller?
as a sideline cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
I don't know if
limited time
anyone cares.
controller. That'd be sick. Or like,
stamp ever have fountain cups that are collectible to your games?
I think
Yes.
sometimes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got-
yeah, yeah.
The
I got
Stamp
2 or 3 of
Stadium?
them from
Yeah.
The Stamp Stadium doesn't.
Yikes.
Really?
That is
Yeah, I'll
weird.
tell you, Stamp. CF
well,
for such a great franchise.
Well,
Well,
that's
you
because you
probably
have the
got, like, the
ancient
original
stadium.
grills.
Yeah.
yeah, you probably got the original grills to the building in there.
Fix your crap, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. Like even old Mosaic, they had like decent food and stuff. Like, we had Western pizza in there and stuff. Edmonton,
out
they had
Western
like
pizza.
Boston pizza and stuff in there, and I'm like, whoa, that's sick. One thing I was complaining about, like the Riders, they should add a Tim Hortons in there. For like those cold
Yeah.
November games. That would be so amazing. It
If
would make a killing.
trucks outside of
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
they do.
see, our stadium though, if you leave the stadium,
Oh
you're
yeah,
not
they.
allowed back in without a new ticket.
Yep.
You're allowed
For
at the
us,
stands.
you're allowed to leave at halftime and come back, but that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're not even allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, that was
Like, if
after
you
the whole
Stand-
thing with the
it's like that
Eskimo
in
game.
the NFL.
Yeah.
The
But,
Eskimo
like-
game?
There was
Yeah, what
like a
happened there?
terrorist attack or something.
Oh,
That's why
oh.
you see.
when the guy ran over people.
Yeah, that's why you
Right.
see the I don't know, the construction equipment blocking the roads and stuff, like heavy
Yeah.
equipment and cops. That's why you see that now, is because of that one guy who was killing people in a truck or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why that is there now. And I
Yeah.
think that's part of why they don't let people leave, is so you can't go out and sneak something into the building and come back. You know?
Well, I think but they can leave
game,
though. They can
Stamps
leave in
games, you
different
could
places.
bring anything. Honestly, a Stamps game, I'm surprised not. Like, I've legit walked in with a bottle of.
That's sad.
Yeah,
Like, that's something they
miss
used to
the-
do at high school games, but that would not fly at like Mosaic.
I was gonna say I miss the old less secured. Yeah, we snuck some stuff back into the old Mosaic Stadium back in the day that we
Oh.
shouldn't have.
Oh, we
The
100%
Stamps are
snook in
far
snacks and
behind.
stuff too. Like, family.
Stamps are far behind.
Ugh.
Mosaic,
You
you
know-
gotta go through security.
Yeah, like we get patted down.
Yeah. Like, it's like airport
only-
security.
Whack.
No. Stamps.
Gonna start coming to your guys' games.
Yeah.
Sounds more fun.
Oh yeah, there's always rowdy.
Oh, yeah. I've heard stories about
Got a
that.
section for that. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to section off those people, just to make sure the visitors are okay. Because I remember one of the friends of the show, I think he got a beer tossed at him at a Bomber game. Like, someone, like, he was sitting
Really?
there in a Rider jersey and someone hucked a beer at him.
I've never experienced that right behind the stamp.
Well, also, you're a big old lineman. No one's going to mess with you. If you're at an away game, it's like, nah,
I've never-
Oh, yeah. If you were, though, it's like, I'm not going to hit the big offensive lineman. I'm going to hit the scrawny kid over there, you know?
Come to a Rider game this year, James. I'll buy you a ticket.
Rider games are actually pretty friendly.
Yeah, Riders versus Calgary.
We need to have a big meetup. I think we were planning on that at the Labor Day game for the Bombers, but we could have James at one of the Calgary games. That'd be cool.
I mean, I was thinking if this upcoming season goes on, me and a buddy were planning on taking the drive to Saskatchewan for Labor Day.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
It'd be
I'm
a
not gonna
time.
be-
Dude,
I'm not
it would
gonna
be fun.
join.
Get the group together for one.
For
I'm
sure.
not gonna
Yeah.
be going to many CFL.
Yeah. Like,
Hey, we're hoping.
I haven't been to too many away games. I've been to one in Winnipeg to watch my cousin play. And then I have been to one in Edmonton to watch him play.
Yeah,
been
the
it.
only
I've never
away
s-
game I've ever been to was not last year's, because now last year was 2019. The 2018 West semifinal,
Oh, nice.
Only away
where it
games
was
I've
us
been
versus
to-
the Riders.
only gate stamp.
Oh,
Mm,
okay.
Away.
Yeah, I've been 2 games in Calgary, 2 games, and one of them was a Grey Cup in Edmonton, and 1 game in BC.
Oh, what's the BC stadium like? 'Cause I hear it's really nice.
It's big and empty. It's very it's very oversized for the crowds to get. Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. When I went, they had the upper deck blocked off. Yeah, it was crowded in a couple sections, but it was nice, and it's like a cool atmosphere. But it's just better if they had more fans, obviously.
For sure. And then, so I think that concludes that part of the video. So we are going to go on to our COVID activities brought back by popular demand. So for me, I am going to recommend
we
Cobra-
have demands.
Yes, we
Did
do.
COVID bring back these?
With all the new COVID
Our
lockdown
popular
protocol.
demand is just people getting COVID all the time.
Because, yeah, hey, man, second wave, we got to bring it back, right?
Oh my god!
Because things are starting to loosen up. We're starting to retire this, and oh no, second wave. All right, let's bring this back.
Yep.
So, for me, I am going to recommend Cobra Kai on Netflix. Basically, it's the story of kind of the Karate Kid 34 years later, and it's not like a traditional story where the one guy's still like the big bully and the bad guy. It's kind of like gray. Like that guy is now like really poor, and the Karate Kid's super rich, and he's kind of a dick now. And I don't know. It's cool. It's hard to explain. It's a good show. Go watch it on Netflix.
I'm gonna come at everyone with just Star Wars. I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 a lot lately. Watching
Mhm.
Mandalorian, rewatching the movies, showing my son the movies, watching Clone Wars and Rebels, just to get all the canon in. So,
All right. Big
if you're
question.
into Star Wars,
I've
huh?
I've to
Big
be fair,
question. Are you
Huh?
showing him the Disney sequels?
We just finished number 6, so we're getting
Okay.
there right now.
Are you
He,
gonna
he
show
gets to
him?
see them.
Oh,
What do you mean?
all right.
No,
I
just
don't know if I show my kids some of those because it's like
No, he
that's
gets
how
to
much
see
I
them and
don't
he'll
like
make
them.
his own opinion. But I'm
All right,
happy
all
his
right,
favorite character is Anakin.
good,
I'm
good.
good with that.
I mean, I've been on a bit of a Star Wars kick recently. There's been a few channels that I've actually been watching a lot recently. One's called Star Wars Theory, and they'll go
Oh
through
my
Yes.
God, Star
comics.
Wars theory. Yes, I know
love
that
Yeah,
Star
guy.
Wars
and they
theories.
talk about like it's a lot of like the
Everything.
Darth Vader
He's
escapades and the things that
awesome.
he did and
Dude,
like hunting
Yeah,
the Jedi and all that.
did you
he's
listen to
Canadian
the
too.
audio comic for Darth Vader that the Star Wars theory did?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh, it's about 2 hours long, but it is glorious. Yeah, I've been listening to all the canon comics on YouTube because they're up there as audio comics. It's great.
Mm,
Meta Nerds is a good one too if you want to learn about like the different ships and vehicles in Star Wars. That's a cool channel to watch.
yeah. Okay, so for my COVID activity, I actually just picked this up a few days ago. I got Ableton Live 10, which is a DAW. It is basically a music software that you are allowed to go in there and screw around with just multiple piano sounds, guitar sounds, drum loops, everything. It's basically GarageBand, but actually professional and actually like
Oh,
good.
nice.
Um, it's been a lot of fun. I've got some buddies of mine who've actually made their livings off of Ableton Live 10. So to be able to go and use that because it's expensive. I'm using a 3-month free trial. It gives me the most expensive version, which is $900 Canadian. So I get it for 3 months. So I'm gonna try and do something by the end of that. But that's how I've been spending my time.
Invested in Amazon Prime. Been watching a lot of shows on there. I watched The Boys.
Yeah,
Great
that's
show.
my
Great.
recommendation. Yep.
And I started watching this show called Goliath, where Billy Bob Thornton is here. It's real silly. I suggest you
Ooh.
check it out. It's pretty good. He always seems like a dick. Listen,
Yeah.
that's that. Just ripping the bite.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Aaron, I haven't got the new COD yet. Is it worth it?
I mean, I'm waiting on a ranked mode to drop.
It's. I didn't like.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Because I really liked Modern Warfare, but I heard this one was a step down, so I'm like, yeah, I might save my money here.
I've been taking it a little.
Nice.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that wraps up the show. Again, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. If you're from the CFL, I hope you actually consider what we proposed. And yeah, that wraps things up. You can find the show on SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Our social media is True North CFL Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Our best content, in my opinion, is on Instagram. So if you're gonna check out one, check that one out for sure. And our editor made a great addition to the show with he's added music and different kind of cool things like that I didn't initially know he was going to do that at first, but it works really well. So thank you, Brandon, for doing that. Yeah,
You real G.
Brandon's a great editor, man. But yeah, oh wait, go ahead, James.
Let me know if you guys want me to do some CFL ASMR. I'll do some play-by-play of some old games.
Yo,
Oh my god, yeah.
play-by-play ASMR, bro.
That's what we
There's
need.
a market there somewhere.
Yeah, it's a it's a weird market,
Yeah.
but it is a market. Yeah, but I think that wraps things up. So thank you very much for listening. This is the True North CFL podcast signing off.